Jerusalem's People in Public photographic series dates to the years 1975 and 1976 when I went to live in Jerusalem. My sojourn in Jerusalem was made possible in part because I had been invited to prepare an exhibit of the work that I had completed on the Jewish communities of Radutz in Romania for the Betatufutsoth Museum, and I decided that I would print those pictures in Israel and work together with the curator for the show at that museum and have the opportunity to see what living in Israel would be like. It's kind of every Jewish person's desire is to visit Israel. I had never really been much of a Zionist myself, but was interested to see what life would be like living there and having this opportunity to prepare a body of work and at the same time be there was really great. I actually had driven from Romania with an old VW bus I bought to Turkey, and I put that VW bus on a freighter, and it was sent, I think, to Ashdod in Israel, or Haifa, where I picked it up. I remember my first experience getting that vehicle off the boat and getting on the road with it. It was sort of a very beaten up old VW bus. I remember climbing the last hill into Jerusalem, and just as I got to the apartment I had found on Rehov Hanaviim, number 38, the VW bus ran out of gas, but fortunately it was just in front of the building that I was going to live in. The building that I was going to live in actually came to be very central to my stay in Israel. I had found it just through an ad in one of the local newspapers there, and it was a very small apartment in what had been the Ethiopian consulate. It was a very beautiful building just outside the old walls of Jerusalem and right next to the Meir Sharim quarter, which is the quarter where the religious Jews live in, not just religious, but the ultra religious Jews. Well, they may not be the most ultra, but where the Lubavitch type and the Jews that you kind of recall from Europe before the Second World War in Roman Vishniak's pictures. This location proved to be very important to my photography in Jerusalem in that I was close to a lot of very interesting places, including the Old City, and also close to my getting an understanding of the many different kinds of people that lived in Jerusalem, because by living in the Ethiopian consulate, I came into contact with the whole community of Ethiopians. And also nearby to the Ethiopian consulate building was a Romanian Orthodox church, and just directly across the street from my apartment, which I could see from my balcony, were the gardens of a Russian Orthodox church. So it was a very diverse neighborhood, and down the road was one of the old gates into the old city. Well, there were several. There was the Jaffa Gate and other gates, one gate going into the Arabic quarter, another going into the Jewish quarter, one going near the Armenian churches. So it was really a feast for the eyes. And the light of Jerusalem is also very special. It's a very intense light, I think. I'm not sure. Well, the air at that time was pretty pollution-free there. But besides that, I think just the sunlight, the reflection of all the stone buildings that were, I believe, built out of what's called Jerusalem limestone, which is very reflective of the light. So I set up a space for myself, and I think it was like a two-room apartment, basically, with a small kitchen and a small bath. I had brought with me my old Amiga B22 enlarger, started to work to make the prints for the exhibition that was to be held X number of months later at the Betatufutsoth Museum, and also started to work with one or two different people, notably a man named Yitzhak Gayon, who was a curator at the Israel Museum at that time, and he was selected to be the curator of my show, and we spent many nice hours together going through the negatives, selecting which pictures were to be printed, creating the kind of flow for the show. And so it was a really nice environment to be in.
Hassan